What's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards Football Sports Talk Radio. I'll be your host and producer, Logan Landers. Join me here today to talk about this very, very interesting matchup between the Washington Huskies and the undefeated Indiana Hoosiers. Is my guy from the Elite Sports Entertainment Network, Jay McLovin. Jay, how you doing, my friend? And this is going to be a closer game, I think, than some people realize because, as we all know, Indiana starting quarterback Curtis Rourke, a gentleman who has had a really solid year so far, he is going to be out for this game. He had thumb surgery, so he is going to be watching from the sidelines. So, Jay, give us your analysis on this upcoming matchup here. Can Washington slay the beast that is Indiana?
Yeah. You know, this game got a whole lot more interesting when Rourke went down. To be honest with you, otherwise I think this was going to be a blowout. If you want to watch this crazy game, though, you can catch it on BTN. Don't even know what BTN is, but apparently this is
Big Ten Network.
There you go.
That's it.
So
that's what I'm here for.
So you can watch it on BTN at 11 a.m. But yeah, you get number 13 Indiana, like you said, they're undefeated at 7-0 against Washington, who's 4-3. But I don't think this is going to be an easy game now that Rourke is out, like you said, with that thumb injury. Now because the sad thing about it was he was actually in the Heisman race.
Yeah.
And so now this is totally going to screw up his Heisman chances. So now he's just going to go whatever. But they get Taven Jackson is going to start at quarterback for Indiana. Now, this may be okay because he did go 7 out of 8 for 91 yards and 2 touchdowns. I think that was against who was it? It was Nebraska, I think, wasn't it, Logan?
Yes, that was
I believe it was against Nebraska, right?
Yeah, that was their win last week, so yes.
So keep that in mind, man. I think he's going to be okay, honestly. Logan, he may even outperform Rourke. I mean, you never know until he gets out there, so we're going to see what he does. So this may not be a complete loss for Indiana having Rourke on the sidelines. When you look at Rodgers, I just gave you what Taven Jackson, what he does. Let's talk about the other side of the ball over there at Washington. Their quarterback Rodgers went 153 out of 212 passes for a little over 1,800 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 2 picks. So he doesn't turn the ball over at all, really. I mean, a couple of picks here or there, but nothing really significant. So he's going to definitely be a good ball protector. Tavian Jackson, he doesn't turn the ball, or at least he hasn't turned it over in that one game. So, it could be a very stingy game for the defenses trying to get interceptions off these quarterbacks. Like you said, he is out with a thumb injury. The key players now for me is going to be Coleman because he runs and he can and he's very agile. He runs quick and he's very, very agile. So he's going to be able to make getting into those gaps a lot easier for him. I think Surratt for Indiana can read the plays and make crucial tackles. So I think Surratt could be Rodgers' nightmare. To be honest with you, not Rodgers' nightmare, but the defense of Washington is going to be a nightmare because he's got 578 yards and 3 touchdowns, and then of course you got Ellison who runs the ball for Indiana at 73 attempts at 73 carries at 514 yards and 8 touchdowns. Then on the flip side, you got Coleman running the ball for Washington. He's one shy of 100 carries at 681 and 5. So I think, but again, when you look at the comparison, 73 at 514, he has I didn't do the math on to figure out the yards per carry, but I can guarantee you Ellison averages more yards than Coleman does per carry. So that's going to be a huge win over there for those guys having work out. Ellison's going to have to be a lot more diligent at running the ball to take some of the pressure off of Tavian. And then when you look at Jackson, he's got 47 catches at 542 and 2 touchdowns. So, Jackson is going to have to be critical for those guys, as well as Surratt is going to be very critical for Tavian to really balance out losing Rourke. With that being said, like I said, Ellison, he's got great speed. He's very agile in the run game. He's also a great pass catcher. So that's going to be a huge thing for Tavian as well, as having a guy out of the backfield that can catch the ball, because when you got to check it down, you definitely want a reliable person to check it down too. So that's going to be, I think, a really big thing there. Rodgers obviously is going to have it's going to be it's going to have a lot of good reliable targets to throw the ball to. The offense does sit around a very balanced attack over there in Washington. So I look to see a lot of good things out of this offense, to be honest with you. I think Indiana still needs to continue improving their consistency. Obviously, that's going to be very challenging with a new quarterback in there, but that's just going to be something that they're going to have to focus on. If I am Indiana's defense, I think they are great at excelling at creating turnovers and applying pressure to the quarterback. So that's going to be huge for those guys when they're going up against Rodgers, given that they're down a quarterback. That defense is really going to have to step it up and make it even harder on Rodgers if they want to have a good shot at it. Washington averages about 300 yards passing per game. Indiana is a more balanced attack. They average around 200 yards a game. But obviously, you can see they make up the difference in that run game that they have. I think that it's going to be I think it's going to be the matchup for me is going to be Washington's offense versus that Indiana defense. I think that's going to be the key matchup in this. I do think Indiana ekes it out with their new quarterback. Since they're ranked number 13, I think they should at least hold on to that spot. I don't think they're going to improve on it. But I think they'll keep it going. I think it'll be a closer game, though. So I'm going to go 28-14 in favor of Indiana, Logan.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. This is where the old adage, Jay, of there's no I in team comes into play for Indiana. With obviously Curtis being out, that's a big blow. Like you said, that was a guy who's in Heisman contention, someone who's thrown for close to 2,000 yards, 15 touchdowns. I mean, can't be beat. So, like you said, where I think Indiana can exploit and beat up on Washington, and that is going to be in the run game. That's going to be with Ellison, who averages 7 yards a pop. Jay, because last week, Washington basically did not have a run defense at all. They gave up to Caleb Johnson for Iowa last week. He ran the ball 21 times for 166 yards. On the day, Iowa ran the ball just down their throat. 37 carries for 220 yards. 5.9 average per rush and 2 touchdowns. If you're Indiana, just get the ball off to your running back. Doesn't seem too difficult to me. The Washington team could not stop it last week. Who's to say they can this week? Now, looking at the rest of this Indiana team, it's going to depend on the receiving game as well, with Surratt, with Cooper Jr., with Price, with Cross. All of those guys are going to have to help out their new quarterback for the time being and make sure, Jay, just give us some slants, give us some curl routes, give me some easy passes. That way you build confidence in your quarterback. That way you're not having to hope and pray that Jackson can chuck the ball 20 yards for you to get a first down, right? Get him those early, quick completions to get some confidence in them, and that can help out the rest of your game.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Logan. I apologize.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, like you were talking about earlier, this game has huge implications for Indiana because, like Wade Turner was saying, Vincent was saying, Indiana is for real in college football playoffs. Well, they literally are on the cusp of getting into the playoffs.
Yeah, they're right there.
Right at 13. I mean, one more spot up and they're in the playoffs. And I got to tell you, the only way that happens is they got to win out, Logan, and it's going to be rough for them.
No, it really is going to be rough for them. And like I said, they're 13 right there. But, Jay, we all know what game is on their schedule coming up in a little bit later on down the line. Yeah. And that's on November the 23rd. Taking on currently the number 4 ranked team in the nation in the Ohio State Buckeyes. But that's a couple weeks from now. We'll preview that game when we get to it.
Oh, it's going to be good.
I know, but right now you're leading up to it. And you got to get this win here over Washington. And this is where I think, Jay, we've heard a lot about him, but this is where head coach Curt Cignetti can really kind of solidify his place in Indiana coaching history, right? Put him up there with the Bobby Knights of the world. Why not? If you can get these wins, if you can keep rolling with this team who hasn't been undefeated in many, 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 many years this late in the season, that is going to look good on his resume and look good as this school. Now, Washington, they have literally, Jay, been up and down, up and down. And I say that because, well, they only had a winning streak. And I say streak in quotations because that's 2 wins. And that was the back-to-back to start off the year, 2-0 with wins against teams like Weber State and Eastern Michigan, where they rightfully so, blew them out as they should. But since they have been facing tougher competition, has been super easy. They lost to Washington State. They beat Northwestern handily. They lost to Rutgers by a few points. They beat Michigan, who was ranked number 10 at the time. Big win there. But we saw Michigan, Jay, they're not even in top 25 anymore. They're out of there. They're gone. Not anymore. Not there. And then they got absolutely destroyed by Iowa. So there's no consistency with this team, man. There is no consistency with this Washington ball club.
Mm-mm-mm.
Will Rogers is an interesting quarterback, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
1,800 yards. I'm all for it. 72% completion percentage. Chef's kiss. Great work. 13 touchdowns, 2 picks. Has been sacked 13 times, so got to improve that. But overall, Jay, I thought he's played really well this season. Where does it fall short for this team that makes them 4-3 on the year? Well, the running game, it's Jonah Coleman and a bunch of other guys pretty much. Coleman's leading the way by far, closing it on 700 yards, close to 100 attempts, 5 touchdowns, 6.9 average, Jay, which I looked, that is 0.1 lower than Indiana's running back. So in terms of yards per carries with Ellison, comparing him to Coleman. So Ellison has the very, very narrow advantage over that. When I look at the rest of this Washington team, we got to look at the receiving game, and Giles Jackson is your top guy there in terms of yards and receptions, Jay. But hold on now. I'm looking here. Had to wipe my screen, make sure. Jay, there is potentially a hidden gem that needs to be just keep throwing it to him. That is Denzel Boston, Jay. Denzel Boston has 40 catches, 540 yards, but he's got 13.5 average per catch.
Wow, that's nice.
That's great. That's all good. But Jay, he's got 9 touchdown passes caught. 9 on the year.
Yeah, he's a scoring machine over there.
You are not kidding. He's got half of what Indiana has as a team. Indiana's got 18 receiving touchdowns. Boston's got 9.
Yeah.
If I'm Will Rogers,
yep,
keep chucking. Give him 10 catches. Give him 15.
And if you're Indiana, you better put somebody that's really good on
you better
double up.
You better make sure there's a safety back there that is just locked on that dude.
Oh yeah.
So watch out for Jackson and Boston. If Rogers can start connecting with them, that'll give him a shot, I think. Now, where this team really needs some work. And Jay, I'm not even talking about the defense. I'm talking about your kicking game, Jay. Grady Gross. Jay, he's 10 of 17 from field goals this year. 10 of 17. That is only 58% on the season. That is not going to cut it.
Oh my God, we're bringing out the kicker. Oh Lord.
Yeah,
this number.
Yeah.
Oh man, we're bringing the kicker. I missed it. Oh.
I would say kind of the classic definition of a college kicker, right? Because we see more so nowadays. These guys are for the most part money. Grady Gross is, I would say, kind of a throwback because you never know what you're going to get. So 10 of 17. He's missed 1 from 20 to 29. He's missed 2 from 30 to 39. He's missed also 2 from 40 to 49. And Jay, he is 0 of 2 from 50 plus. So it's a toss-up if you get in field goal range. 58%, that's pretty much a toss-up. Onto the defense. Onto this defense here for Washington. He gave up 40 points to Iowa, who actually, as much as they were made fun of last year for their inept, ice-cold offense, they've actually had a pretty good team this year offensively.
Yeah.
But still, you cannot give up 40 points and win unless your offense is right there with them. And so far, Washington has not even scored 40 points in a ball game. The most was 35, and that was against Weber State.
Yeah.
So their offense ain't quite there. On the defense for this team, they have a combined 14 sacks on the year. Isaiah Ward's leading the team with 3. And then you got Zach Dufree and Tupatala. Both those gentlemen have 2.5. In terms of interceptions, Jay, they got to pick it up. You got to get some turnovers if you want to win this game. Only have 4 on the year. So if Washington wants to win this game, here's my strategy. You have to blitz. You have to just stay patrolling in the backfield. You just need to make sure that Taven Jackson is as uncomfortable as he can be.
Right.
Because, Jay, he's not proven it yet. He's an interesting player, right? 6'4", 212. But you got to show me what you can work with, right? He played a little bit with IU last year, right? He 914 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 picks. This year, like I said, just a handful of throws, 3 touchdowns, which is great, but not much to work with here. Not a whole lot of game film in a sense.
Oh, yeah.
So if you're Washington, game plan, blitz crazy, and make sure you got someone in the corners and safety playing tight so you can get some picks. If you're Indiana, I say run the ball as much as you can, Jay. Because Washington couldn't stop it last week. And do you really want to put all your faith in a backup quarterback for the time being?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think this game is still going to go in Indiana's favor. I think they are a better team, and that's why I'm going to have them win this upcoming ball game. But I think it will be a close game. I'll go final score Indiana 28 and Washington 17. I think IU keeps undefeated, and I think that they will improve, Jay, to 8-0, which is wild to say. Kurt Signetti, I'm just saying, Jay. If you're Kurt, I'm just saying. A lot of fans are talking. A lot of fans are talking, saying this is one of the best coaches we've had. And you can't deny it. The record's there. So yeah. I think that Indiana will roll this week. I think they'll get the win. Like I say, it won't be a blowout, but it won't be, win by 3 points. I think they'll win by a handful of points there. But we want to hear what you have to say, though, in our comments, Facebook, YouTube. Check us out over there. For Jay, appreciate you, my friend, coming on the show. I've been your host and producer, Logan Landers. Until next time, we'll see you all again on another